think I'm live. I think I'm live. Yeah, okay. Let me double check that I'm live on here. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Yep, we're good. Okay, cool. Hi. Let me make sure that's the right link. Nope, that's the stream keep. Don't want to paste that. Where is my stream link on here? You know what? I've got it open on my phone. I'll just do it from there. Okay. Can I share? There we go. All right, cool. Hey, everybody. This is something new I'm trying out. Hoping to make this a weekly thing, although in the future it will not be this late. It is currently 9:05 p.m. my time. Hopefully want to do these earlier in the future. I was hoping to get this started at around 8:30, but I had to go get a package my mom accidentally got delivered to the wrong address, and then it wasn't there. So that's fine. So welcome to Noah's Monday Movie Club. It's been a while since I've made any YouTube content. Hello, whomst is there? Oh. Why? I heard a notification of someone joining, but they're not in the call. Can I? That's weird. Hey, if anyone just tried to join the voice chat, send me a message. I don't know if I have to, do I have to invite people now? Is that how this works? Did Discord have a stupid update recently? Whatever. Okay. Anyway, this is something I'm trying out. It's been a while since I've done any content for YouTube. I'm obviously winding down my YouTube content purposely, building towards a finale in terms of the lore stuff that the storytelling that Alex and I have had going for a while. Obviously, this channel's still gonna be getting content whenever I make a new short film or anything to post to it. Speaking of which, I am working on a short film. That's part of the reason why I don't have a lot of content right now coming out, because I'm going to be busy with that and work, and I just finished a move. So I've been wanting to do more content on YouTube talking about movies, because that's a big passion of mine, obviously. And I've contemplated doing like video essay type content, but that takes a lot of work to script, research, and edit. Stuff that I don't really have time for right now. And I don't make any money off of YouTube anyway, so it's not really worth it to put that much effort into stuff I'm not getting monetized, unless it's a project I'm super passionate about, like the short film I'm working on for later this year. And also, none of my channels really fit video essay type content, especially related to movies. Hitmon channel has always been a collaborative channel where people can kind of do whatever they want, but has always primarily been gaming content. This channel I want to reserve for just like my movies and plays and stuff. And Heart of Pluto Pictures, obviously that's a very specific in-lore purpose to that channel. And my original YouTube channel no longer exists, which is where I would have put any video essay content. So, instead of that, I am doing what will hopefully become a weekly series. Where I just, every Monday I'll do like maybe 2 to 3 hours live on here, just talking about movies. I will have specific stuff in mind some days, other days not so much. I do have some specific things I want to do tonight. Yeah, we're going to start off. I'm going to shrink my webcam for this part. There we go. Why are you still on the Discord? Why are you still on the Discord? Why are you frozen on the Discord? That's not good. Why the fuck is it doing? What? What the fuck? Why is it doing that? Hang on. Let me add that. Back. Display capture. Yeah, it's display capture. Yeah. Show cursor. Hide OBS from capture. Oh! Yay! Oh, I can hide OBS! Yes! That's perfect. That's what I want. Okay, cool. I'll still show the cursor. Why not? Oh, jeez. That needs to be shrunk. Okay. And also, can I make that so that my face cam is in front? Okay. Can I make my video capture in front? There we go. Okay, cool. That's what I wanted. Okay, cool. So, first thing we're gonna do tonight is I am going to, since we're halfway through 2026, I am going to rank all of the new releases I've seen so far this year. Because, a lot of like entertainment outlets are doing that, so I figured might as well jump on that bandwagon. I'm actually gonna go to my diary so that I know exactly so that I don't miss any, because Letterboxd is weird with how it dates certain things. Like, it says that Obsession came out last year, which is not true. So, okay. Let's go in order. Let's get this sorted by earliest first. Yes, perfect. Okay. You're gonna see all the films that I've watched so far this year, and a lot of them You're gonna be like, why the fuck did you watch that? Like Gordy and Spy Mate on the same day? Um, yeah. Uh, that's for something else. Okay. So, and I'm not counting, even if there's stuff that like got its wide release this year, but was competing for last year's award season. So like Secret Agent, I'm not going to count because even though that got its wide release this year, I don't think it had a wide release until this year because it was competing for the most recent Oscar season. It, you know, it's a 2025 film. So I'm not counting any of that. So like Blue Moon, yeah, same way. So might be a bit before I find one that Die My Love doesn't count. Early We Roll Along. It is not a movie. It's a pro shot of a Broadway show, so I'm not counting that. Twinless was last year's season. And I might be ranking some films that go against that. There are certain films where I don't know because of the weird release schedule. I don't know if they would have counted for this year or last year as far as award season is concerned. So the first one, Iron Lung. I know that one is this season. So Iron Lung's going to be very high on this list. I'm going to put these this way. Obviously, number one right now. I gave that 4.5 stars. Very impressive directorial debut from Mark. Clearly very passionate about it. And he does a good job acting in it, too. I was very impressed with his acting in it. I can understand why some critics weren't as into it. It's very much a mood piece where, like, you're not going to get a cohesive plot necessarily. I'm sure I would pick up on a lot more plot details on a rewatch. I haven't gotten around to rewatching yet. I know it's available to purchase digitally now. I am waiting for a physical release. That's definitely one I want to own physically. And Mark did say there would be a Blu-ray release at some point. So, yeah. So waiting for that. But yeah, super solid. One of the most impressive video game adaptations I've ever seen. The production design's really good. I honestly, had it not been for another film that we will get to in a bit, I would say that Iron Lung is the best video game movie I've seen. But we're going to get to one that goes against that. Arco had its wide release this year, but it was competing for... It already competed for Oscars, so I'm counting it as 2025. No Other Choice, same thing. Although I will say it should have absolutely been nominated for Best International Film and Best Picture, honestly. Like, it was just an accident, same way. Although that hit its wide release last year. I just didn't watch it until this year. The Bride, okay. Here we go. The Bride. This is easily the worst film I've seen this year. It is the only new film I have seen this year that I have actively disliked. All of the other films I've either liked, loved, or been like, meh. But this is the only one below a 5 out of 10. I think this film would be unwatchable if not for the fact that Jessie Buckley is completely committed to the performance. She does the absolute best she can with what she is given. It's just that what she is given is really bad. Really bad. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't have much more to say about that. It's also been, I saw it like when it came out, so I haven't, it's not fresh in my mind anymore. By design, I'm gonna count, even though it says 2025, I'm gonna count that because I don't know if it qualified for Oscars this year or last year. By design is so good. This is probably a film that most people watching this probably haven't heard of, because it's distributed by Music Box Films, which recently stopped distributing films. But they're owned by the same company that owns the movie theater I work at. So we did a couple showings of it, and I watched it. It's so good. It's so it is a film in which Juliette Lewis plays a woman who wishes to become a chair, and so she swaps bodies with a chair. It's like if David Lynch made The Substance, is the best way I can describe it. It's very good. I highly, highly recommend, if you have any way of watching this film, go watch it. It's definitely not for everyone, but it is a film that you should give a shot because it's so unique, so good. Ready or Not 2. Okay. Ready or Not 2. It's gonna be low on the list, but that doesn't mean I dislike it. Like I said, The Bride is really the only film I've watched so far that has come out this year that I've actively disliked. Ready or Not 2 is a solid 6 out of 10 for me. It's not as good as the original. I rewatched the original right before seeing it. I went to see this with a friend, and we both had a lot of fun watching it. It's more of the same. If you like the first one and go into this sequel expecting it to just be more of the first one and not really reinventing anything, you're probably gonna have a fun time. I know my boss hated it, but it's fine. It's a fine sequel. It didn't need to happen, but it's fine. There's some solid kills in there. There's some very funny moments. The cast is good. Maybe a little overstuffed. I didn't, as much as I love Catherine Newton, I didn't necessarily care for a lot of the sibling drama in the film. It felt pretty ham-fisted at times, but it's a solid sequel. It's not nearly as good as the first one, but it's fun. Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. I was not as crazy about this as everyone else. I think largely due to the fact that I have zero familiarity with the show. But I'll put it above Ready or Not 2, because I put them on about the same level as far as, like, my level of enjoyment, but I recognize that Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie is a lot more ambitious in what it is doing. So yeah, it's fun. It's fun. I think a lot of the funniest moments were spoiled in the marketing, unfortunately. That tends to happen a lot with comedies. Not a knock against the film, it's more a knock against the marketing. But it's a fun time travel comedy. Like, even not, like, I probably would have appreciated it a lot more had I seen the show that it is based on. But it's fine. And it's kind of a similar situation to last year's Friendship with Tim Robinson. I was somewhat familiar with Tim Robinson's brand of humor, but his brand of humor is very much hit or miss for me. And this is kind of the same. I feel kind of the same way about this one. The humor was just kind of hit or miss for me. But I do not blame people for putting it higher on their lists. Wuthering Heights. Okay. I am an Emerald Fennell defender, but this was just not it. I didn't hate it, but... Okay, come on, there we go. I didn't hate it. I didn't care for it. It's pretty to look at. That's about it. This girl I have a crush on, when I described my thoughts on the film to her, she described it as Cocomelon for adults, and that is incredibly accurate. That is an incredibly apt comparison. A Magnificent Life. Again, I don't know if this technically qualified for earlier awards contention, but do I put it above or below Iron Lung? They're both really good. I think I'm know that this is a toss-up for me. A Magnificent Life is so good. It is an animated biopic about French filmmaker Marcel Pagnol. Pagnol. I don't remember how to pronounce the last name. Very good. The animation style is great. It's just a very touching film, and it tells the story in a very compelling way that you do not often see with biopics. It's so good. This is another one where, like, you probably haven't heard of it. Seek it out. It's very good. It's very, very good. The drama. Okay. This one, if you check my letterbox, you will see I don't have a star rating for this. I try my best to give star ratings to all the films I watch, but there are certain films where I watch them and I just don't know how to rate them. This is definitely one of them, but I am going to put it very high on my list because it is a very well-made film. I wouldn't say I enjoyed it, but it's a very well-made film and really makes you think about its subject matter. If you somehow haven't been spoiled on what this film is really about, go watch it unspoiled. Don't look anything up. Well, look up trigger warnings, but don't dive into how they play into the plot. Because this is a film that will trigger people. But it is a very good, thought-provoking film. And the performances are phenomenal. Yeah, it's high on my list. I don't know if I would ever rewatch it. Like, I'm gonna rewatch Iron Lung for sure. And I will likely rewatch A Magnificent Life at some point. I guess this is a good place because I know I would immediately want to rewatch Iron Lung. Like, if you put these two movies in front of me, I would watch Iron Lung over A Magnificent Life, probably. Guess it depends on my mood. There are certain days where I would definitely be more in the mood for A Magnificent Life than Iron Lung, but I'm more eager to rewatch Iron Lung than I am A Magnificent Life. But anyway, yeah, the drama, very well made, very well acted, very thought-provoking. Palestine 36, I'm not going to rank because it was submitted for last year's Oscars, so I'm not going to rank that. Exit 8, though, that's an immediate one I need to put on. Exit 8, I think... I might swap these two. This is another hard decision for me. Exit 8 is the film I was talking about earlier when I said Iron Lung would have been the best video game adaptation I've seen, if not for, well, video game movie. I would still probably put Last of Us above Iron Lung. But Exit 8 clears both, in my opinion, in terms of being a phenomenal video game adaptation. Exit 8 is the only video game adaptation I have seen that feels like it is able to incorporate video game elements and make you feel like you are either playing the game or watching someone play the game, while still feeling cinematic, if that makes sense. It's a phenomenal film. This is one of the films that I, like, reacted to the most. like in terms of, like, not to say, like, the other films on this list didn't give me emotional reactions, but, like, Exit 8 was an emotional roller coaster for me in the best way possible. So many moments of frustration, so many moments of, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, not, like, celebration, but, like, satisfaction, I guess. It's a very good movie. It's, like, this is another one that, like, probably has flown under the radar for a lot of people, especially if you're into horror, or if you're into video games. Seek this one out. A lot of the films on this list are available through Letterboxd's movie rental program. This isn't sponsored or anything, but a lot of these films are on there. Project Hail Mary, okay. This is one that it took me a while to get to. And it's the only one on this list so far that I've watched more than once. That said, I'm going to put it here, which looks like it's on the lower end. Once we add more films, it'll look better. I think Project Hail Mary is very good. I understand why a lot of people, upon seeing it, were like, this is the best film of the year. The dynamic between Dr. Grace and Rocky is so good. It's so good. I'm going to shrink my webcam a little bit. There we go. That's better. Their dynamic is so good. And I just rewatched this last night. Like, my mom hadn't seen it yet, so we watched it last night because it just landed on Amazon Prime. I think it is a very good film. That said, I start to lose interest every time they cut to the stuff on Earth before the mission. And it has a similar, I would say there's a similar, I put this on the exact same level as another film we'll get to. Whereas, like, about half the film is amazing and the other half is fine. Project Hail Mary, yeah. I really don't like the big turn that Sandra Hüller's character takes. I don't like that. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen the movie yet, but that second to last scene with her, I don't like. I don't like the direction that went. But Obviously, the dynamic between Dr. Grace and Rocky is so good. Ryan Gosling is very good in the role. Is he the best male lead of the year so far? Maybe. I mean, Robert Pattinson's really good in the drama. Honestly, Mark is in the conversation for me for Iron Lung. But yeah, I'd probably give it to Gosling. But yeah. Very good. And I want to shout him out by name. What's the name of the James Ortiz, I think, is the name of the guy who voices and puppeteers Rocky. James Ortiz, yeah. He should get nominated for an Oscar. He really should. I hope the Academy is willing to recognize that. But yeah. I have my issues with it. It's long. I would probably I would cut if I were recutting this film, I would probably cut about a half hour, mostly from the On Earth stuff. I might mess with the order. Like, I don't know if I would keep the non-linear structure where it cuts back and forth between On Earth before the mission and the mission. Obsession. Here we go. This is the one everyone's talking about right now. This is my number one of the year so far. And it's not a situation where, like, I don't think anything could beat it. Because I think that there are definitely some films coming out later this year that could dethrone Obsession for my favorite of the year. But it's really fucking good. It's a masterpiece, I think. I think it is one of the best horror films we're on a good run with horror right now. We are on a very good run with horror. I'm so impressed of the level of talent in this film, especially for, a director who's 2 years younger than me. So impressed. Indy deserves an Oscar. I'm not even gonna say nomination. She deserves the Oscar at this point. She delivers the best performance I have seen this year so far. And that's saying something because Juliette Lewis plays a chair. No, legitimately, Juliette Lewis is so good in By Design. But yeah, Indy is Indy has the performance of the year so far. That goes without question for me. So good. Okay, come on, load. Okay. Almost done. I haven't seen too many new films this year, so we're almost done here already. Which feels weird. Disclosure Day. Okay, this is the other film I was alluding to when I was talking about Project Hail Mary, where I'm like, yeah, I put these on about the same level. These two could also very well flip-flop for me. I am going to put Project Hail Mary above. Just because, like a situation with Nirvana and Ready or Not, Nirvana is more ambitious than Ready or Not 2. Project Hail Mary is admittedly more ambitious than Disclosure Day. That's not to say Disclosure Day isn't great. I feel like a lot of people are overreacting about Disclosure Day in particular, saying it's a weaker Spielberg film. Obviously, it comes nowhere near his masterpieces, but it is a very good film. I would say the first half of this film I thought was pretty good, not great. The second half is phenomenal. I would as soon as the second half hit, as soon as Emily Blunt and Josh O'Connor finally meet in person, I was locked in. I think this is the best performance I've ever seen of Emily Blunt. She's fantastic in it. The whole cast is really good, honestly. I would have liked a little more of Coleman Domingo, just because Coleman Domingo is one of my favorite actors working today. But he does a very good job with what little he's given. Josh O'Connor is great, as always. That news anchor at the end. So, like, oh man. She deserves a nomination for supporting actress. Honestly. I don't remember her name, but she's so good. This film, it's tackling aliens in a very interesting way. That's, I think, very relevant to current day politics. Half of this film is basically just political thriller. And I find it especially interesting about, there's a certain quote in the film. I don't want to say what it is, but there is a particular quote that really stuck with me. And it is how this film addresses religious faith in relation to the revelation that there are aliens. And also, on a broader note, ties into how people often misread, misinterpret, whether they will misread or misinterpret the wording of the Bible, whether accidentally or intentionally, oftentimes intentionally. In this particular instant in the film, it's not an intentional misinterpretation, but a lot of times in real life it is. So yeah, there's a quote related to that subject matter that really stuck with me after hearing it. I was like, oh, that says a lot about our current society. Not to pull a we live in a society, but like kinda. I thoroughly enjoyed Disclosure Day. And this is another one. There's a lot of films on this list where, like, depending on the day you ask me, I could put Disclosure Day above Project Hail Mary, which some people might crucify me for. But whatever. I love boosters. I mentioned earlier I work at a movie theater. I just brought home a poster for I Love Boosters today. It's so good. You know, on a rewatch, these could swap, maybe. Hell, I Love Boosters could get up to here, really. I Love Boosters is so good. This is a film that there was never any point in this film where I could predict what was going to happen next. You may have seen me scroll past it in my diary, but I also watched Sorry to Bother You for the first time this year, which is a masterpiece. The reason that I Love Boosters is currently in number 4 and not higher is because I don't quite put it on the same level as Sorry to Bother You. But I have fallen in love with Boots Riley's work. I also watched I'm a Virgo. I watched Sorry to Bother You and I'm a Virgo in the lead up to watching I Love Boosters. He is a director with a very distinct visual style that is telling very interesting and unique stories. um, in a way that you can tell he does not give a shit if his films appeal to a mainstream audience. Like, my mom and I had this conversation with him in relation to Jordan Peele. Obviously, they're making very different types of movies, but they are both, you know, very skilled black filmmakers who are telling stories that are, you know, innately about, you know, the black experience. The difference being that Jordan Peele has made films that can tell those very deep and tough themes and stories while still appealing to a broader audience. Whereas Boots Riley clearly doesn't give a fuck about appealing to a broader audience. I also really want to see him do, like, I know it's never gonna happen because Marvel would never let a director with as great and unique of an artistic vision as Boots Riley make a film for them without stepping in to, you know, get their grimy producer studio hands on it. But Boots Riley would make the best X-Men movie. Like, that might not make sense unless you have seen I'm a Virgo. But yeah, I will watch anything Boots Riley puts out. He's immediately shot to the top of like my favorite directors within the span of like a month. Supergirl. This is another one that I liked a lot more than a lot of people. It's a solid movie, guys. The people are really reacting, especially for this one. Like, this and Disclosure Day, people are way overreacting to. In a negative way. Supergirl makes more sense for people to be reacting negative to because it is a superhero film starring a woman who is like objectively attractive. Let's people saying she is not attractive are fucking sad. Like, she is attractive. Like, let's not. Anyway, I really like Supergirl. It doesn't reinvent the wheel at all, but it doesn't need to, and it's not trying to. Millie Alcock is great in the role. They do a lot of really good character work with her. I find her story very compelling. Jason Momoa is clearly having the time of his life as Lobo. Like, I've never seen that man smile so much. He's at, like, yeah, give him a Lobo movie, please. Please. Don't let this film bombing at the box office take away a potential Lobo movie from us. He deserves it. But yeah. Voicemails for Isabel. There we go. There's another one that I have more negative to say about, but it's not that it's a bad movie. It's a 7 out of 10. It plays to the tropes of a rom-com, for better or worse. Particularly for worse because of the relationship starts with the man being dishonest. that is done in so many fucking rom-coms. But it's cute. The leads have chemistry. It's cute. Zoe Deutsch, in particular, is extremely charming in this. Yeah, it's good. Nick Offerman is also great in this. I wish we got a little more of him, but whatever. Send Help. Send Help I think, is mostly great, but kind of falls apart in the end for me. It's like a 7 out of 10. I think it's mostly really good. Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien are both fantastic in it. It's like Misery if Annie Wilkes was completely justified. But the third act kind of falls apart for me. That's really what keeps this from being higher. Yeah. That's all I really have to say about that. And then Backrooms. That's the last one I have to rank. Man, I was disappointed by Backrooms. My mom and I went to see this one together. I didn't expect her to really like it. I did not expect her to like it, and she didn't like it. I expected me to like it, though, and I didn't like it. It's a 5 out of 10. There's some parts of this that are very good. The production design, obviously phenomenal. The performances are great, especially Chiwetel Ejiofor. He delivers a very good performance in this. And Renata Riensve is also very good, as always. Chiwetel definitely outshines her in this. I think this film, and it's interesting because I had seen before seeing this film, I had heard that it was one of those films that doesn't give you a lot of answers for what is happening, that you kind of have to piece it together yourself. I was misled by those. I was definitely misled by those readings because I think the movie gives you too many answers as to what the whole thing is. And I think it goes in a direction in terms of theming and what this is all a metaphor for. It goes in a direction that has become very overdone in horror. Particularly in a recent horror franchise that I hate and everyone else loves, the Smile franchise. It's got weird thematic and visual. One particular element of this is like surprisingly similar, visually speaking, to the Smile movies. That did not work for me. That really, really soured this one for me. I also kind of wish the whole thing was found footage. I think the found footage scenes were the most compelling and the scariest the film ever got. Particularly the one in the middle of the movie. Because there's the one there's the opening scene, which is very in line with the original videos. And I should say, I have watched some of the original internet videos for Backrooms. I have not watched all of it. But I knew, like, the vibe. And this film is its best when it is leaning into that vibe of, like, we don't know what any of this means, but it's creepy. The opening scene does a very good job at that. The middle found footage scene. And my mom and I actually saw the Everything Must Go edition because we hadn't gotten around to it yet. And by the time we finally got around to it, they had released the Everything Must Go edition, which adds the 16 extra minutes after the credits. That's all found footage. That part worked for me. I liked that element. I almost told my mom, like, we don't have to stay for it. Because, like, we were both kind of like, eh. Well, I was more eh. She was more eh. But I was like, we don't have to stay for the extra stuff. And she was like, no, it might make more sense for me. It didn't. It doesn't really... It's... The extra footage doesn't really add to the story of the film. It is extra world building. And again, feels more in line with the original internet videos. So, yeah. I'm going to blame a lot of this movie's faults on the script. Because Kane Parsons didn't write it. He directed it, but he didn't write it. I don't know. And I was looking at the guy, the guy who wrote it. I think this is his first feature, too. Which, obviously, Kane Parsons, you know, it's his first feature film. So, like, I don't know. What do I know? But, yeah. So that one was a little disappointing for me. But, yeah. I don't know if this is a low amount of film. I feel like there's a... It feels like there's not a lot of films here for how far we are into the year that I have watched. Obviously, there are some notable releases that I haven't gotten around to. Like, I haven't seen Sheep Detectives yet. I really want to. I've been meaning to watch that. But I haven't gotten around to it yet. Sheep Detectives. The Invite isn't released where I live yet. But I'm definitely going to go see it as soon as I can. Because I've been hearing people say it's one of the best of the year. Which I was not expecting. Especially after Don't Worry, Darling. I mean, I love Booksmart. So I'm rooting for Olivia Wilde to have another winner. And it sounds like she's got one. It seems like more people are talking about this one than people were talking about Booksmart. So... Okay. I'm intrigued. I like how the marketing is giving almost nothing away. That's always a good sign for me. Yeah, like it gives you enough to be intrigued, but not enough to spoil anything. But yeah. Haven't seen Toy Story 5. I don't want to, but my mom really wants to, so I'll end up seeing it at some point, probably. Haven't seen Hoppers yet. I've heard that one's really good, so I'll get around to it at some point. What other big releases have I missed this year so far? Best films of 2026. 28 Years Later, Bone Temple. But I didn't see the first 28 Years Later. I've only seen the original 28 Days. So, maybe I'll get to those at some point. I don't know. Maybe that's it. Maybe... Devil Wears Prada 2 I haven't seen. I still haven't seen the first one. So, there's that. Blue Heron... people I've heard is really good, but didn't get a super wide release. So, probably get to that at some point. This list has Mike and Nick and Alice in their top films. Okay. Interesting. Oh, I haven't seen Mother Mary yet. Is that on HBO Max yet? That one I really want to see. Because I love, We'll get to David Lowery. We'll get to David Lowery in a bit here, actually. But I have loved what I have seen of his work. So I definitely want to check out Mother Mary. It's not on Prime. HBO Max release date. When? There's not an exact date. They're saying July or August. Okay. Yeah. That I definitely have to. That I definitely want to see. I didn't see the Christophers when it was out. It was showing at the theater I work at for a week or two. People really liked it, but I didn't end up watching it. This person has Hamnet. Hamnet's not a 2026. Even its wide release was not 2026. Came out in 2025. I haven't seen Riz Ahmed's Hamlet yet. That's also on my radar. I want to watch that. Haven't seen Crime 101. I didn't think that looked great, but Waste Man I want to see. Best Person has the Bride in their best of the year. That's crazy. That's actually insane. Yeah. Okay. So I've seen most of the big stuff. I never got around to Father, Mother, Sister, Brother. But I think that qualified for last year's Oscars, so I wouldn't have included it in this list anyway. Yeah. So I've seen most of the heavy hitters for the year. Tuner got more praise than I expected based on the marketing. I don't know if I'll give that one a shot. I want the bobblehead of Dustin Hoffman next to the piano that they were giving away at early screenings. I wonder if I could find that on eBay. Power Ballad. Power Ballad looks like it could be fun. Was Hokum this year? Yeah, Hokum was this year. Okay. I haven't seen that yet either. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's my ranking for so far this year. Okay. Well. Okay. I'll exit out of that. I'll bring this up for the time being. Okay. I was gonna prepare a slideshow for this. But then I realized the Moana remake comes out this Friday. I thought it was later this month. It is not. Shows how much I give a shit about that movie. I will not be watching that, but if I did, that could easily dethrone The Bride for my least favorite of the year. But, yeah, so I have talked with people a lot about the Disney remakes. And, I'm not a fan of unnecessary remakes. It's like, but I think the Disney remakes overall have a lot more merit than people give them credit for. Because there are some people who say all the Disney remakes are bad, which is objectively false. So, actually, do I even want to go through my notes? You know what? I will. But I'm also going to pull up my Letterboxd ranking list, because I don't know if people are interested in hearing my extensive thoughts on the originals, because, a lot of the, people have talked enough about those. But I will pull up my list here. Because I did post a ranking on Letterboxd, so I'll just pull that up here. And I'll bring my webcam back down so that you guys can see that part. Okay. So, here we have my ranking for the Disney live action remakes and reimaginings. I wasn't going to go through these in roughly chronological order, but I guess I'm going to have to jump back and forth between my notes if I do that. You know what? Look it. You'll get spoilers for some of the rankings here, but I'm going to go chronological like I plan to, but have this up for a visual. So yeah. So how I marathoned like all of these films along with the originals. The originals just aren't in this ranking because they're the originals. And I did it in roughly chronological order, specifically by when a film got its first live action reimagining. So some people may say, oh, that's Alice in Wonderland. Others would say 101 Dalmatians, because that happened in the 90s. There is actually one Disney film that technically got its first live-action reimagining prior to 101 Dalmatians, and that is The Jungle Book. This first film, titled Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book, came out in 1994. Probably haven't heard of it. But this is a film that technically is not produced by Disney, but they helped fund it, and it has references to the original Disney film. So I counted it. Yeah, like they helped fund it, and I think they distributed it through Buena Vista. So yeah, it counts. I'll be honest, this one I watched very early in the morning, and I kind of dozed off for part of it, so I didn't give this one a proper star rating. But it's about here. This feels accurate. I didn't care for this one. It's not even really a Jungle Book remake. It's more of a sequel, because it follows Mowgli as an adult. It's a reimagining that, from my understanding, kind of partially adapts the second Jungle book. And it feels almost more like a Tarzan movie because of that. But you get some live animals there. They don't talk at all, but you have Carrie Elwes as the villain, who's not a particularly interesting villain. I don't even remember what his motives were, but Carrie Elwes plays the role well. I put that there was a better final confrontation with Shere Khan than the original. I don't remember what the final confrontation with Shere Khan is, because Shere Khan's not the main villain of this movie. It's Cary Elwes. But yeah, this one has a heavy focus on the romance between Mowgli and a woman in the village, which I don't care for. Also, interestingly, the guy who plays Mowgli in this, what's the actor's name? What is the actor's name in this movie? I'm gonna end up spending more time on this than I want to, but Jason Scott Lee. Oh, it's the guy who voiced David in the original Lilo and Stitch. He shows up 3 times on this list, actually. He's in 3 of these live-action remakes / reimaginings. This is the one where he is miscast, because despite him being, I believe, half Chinese, half Hawaiian, Mowgli is specifically stated to be Indian in this film. So Jason Scott Lee should not have played this role, but, you know, it was 1994. What are you gonna do? Yeah. They also really shoehorn in a reference to Bare Necessities, which is really, it's a very, I was gonna say a very Suicide Squad-esque line, but this next Jungle Book adaptation, the Jungle Book Mowgli's story from 1998, literally has also a very shoehorned reference to Bare Necessities, and also a literal Suicide Squad-esque movie title drop at the end of the movie that made me drop this from 1 star to half a star. This is a straight-to-video one, so a lot of people don't know. I think probably even less people know this one exists than this one, even though this one is on Disney Plus and this one isn't. This one's on YouTube, but yeah, this one's on Disney Plus. It is closer to the original, but it's not a musical. The script is terrible. The voice acting is really bad, despite the fact that it has a stacked cast. Eartha Kitt plays Bagheera. She's probably the best part, but really all the voice acting is pretty rough. It's poorly directed, more so, because the cast is stacked. Stephen Tobolowsky's in it. Who's the other? Wallace Shawn is in it. Jungle Book, Mowgli's story. The fun thing about this cast, though, well, fun fact, it's not necessarily a fun cast. It's not necessarily fun in the context of the movie, but I mean, a lot of people know about the 2016 remake, which we'll get to, where Bill Murray voices Baloo. His brother, Brian Doyle Murray, more well-known for voicing the Flying Dutchman in SpongeBob, is Baloo in this one, which is interesting. I guess they couldn't afford Bill Murray for this one, so they got Brian Doyle instead. Nancy Cartwright is in it as Wolf Pup. I don't remember that. Fred Savage narrates the film as an adult Mowgli, which is somehow worse casting than Jason Scott Lee in terms of appropriateness. Richard Kind. No, Stephen Tobolowsky's not it. Oh, no, he is. Stephen Tobolowsky isn't this. Richard Kind is the other comedic character actor I was thinking of. Clancy Brown is also in it. So very good cast, but they're all very poorly directed. And yeah, no, there is a line at the very end of the movie where Mowgli straight up says, "Must be some kind of Jungle Book." It's like shockingly similar to the "so what, we're some kind of Suicide Squad" line. It's shockingly similar. There is one song in the movie that happens 40 minutes in and feels completely out of place because the movie isn't a musical. But they got one song in there. So that threw me off. But yeah, this one's really bad. Don't watch that one for any reason. Jungle Book 2016. This one's good. I put the 2016 Jungle Book, and this is one I heard, like, when it came out. I feel like people have soured on it a little bit because they've soured on all the remakes. But when Jungle Book came out in 2016, I consistently heard people saying that it was better than the original. I would put this version and the 2016 film on about the same level, honestly. It just depends entirely on what you're looking for. If you want just fun, cartoonish whimsy, watch the original. But if you want a more cohesive plot with more character depth, watch this one. I think, I wrote down, the whole cast is great, honestly, but I specifically want to shout out Neil Sethi as Mowgli. He's really good. Scarlett Johansson as Kaa is really good, and I actually really like Christopher Walken's interpretation of King Louie. This one has a much more interesting and memorable confrontation with Shere Khan than either the original or the Jason Scott Lee one. Yeah. This one's solid. The only thing I really didn't care for with this one is bare necessities. I like Bill Murray's Baloo, but it feels, I think it's offbeat. I'm not sure what's wrong with it in this one, but like bare necessities is, I think, one of my favorite Disney songs. In fact, honestly, if it were not for bare necessities and I Want to Be Like You, Jungle Book, the original, would not be worth watching. Those two songs really carry that film. They're both really good songs. But yeah. Yeah, something's off about it in the remake. I don't know exactly what the problem is because I'm not a musical person. I mean, I act in musicals, but I'm not musically trained enough to, like, be able to discern specifics with that. But yeah, so yeah. And Jungle Book's one of those where, like, the original or the 2016 one are, I think, equally good. 101 Dalmatians is next. Boy, I really like the original 101 Dalmatians. Really, the only thing I don't like about the original 101 Dalmatians is the Twilight Bark sequence that grinds the film to a halt with, like, what, 2.5 minutes of just dogs barking, and it sucks. But the rest of the film is great. Man, people really hype this film up a lot, exclusively because of Glenn Close. And she's great in it. She's great. The rest of the film is garbage, though. Like, it's a very bad film. It's a very bad remake. First of all, it tries way too hard to modernize the story. Like, instead of making Roger a songwriter, you make him a video game designer. And you don't even give him a real reason to, like, in the original 101 Dalmatians, the film starts and Roger already hates Cruella de Vil before we even know the true extent of her evil. And you, like, that could read poorly, which is probably why they changed it for this one. Although they don't really. They just delay the petty move. Because, like, you know, in the original, he writes the whole song about how evil Cruella de Vil is. And he writes that before we learn that she's gonna turn puppies into coats. He's just petty for seemingly no reason at the beginning of that movie, and I love it. Like, it's a very charming kind of petty. Like, because the character of Roger in the original is, like, really charming and really nice, apart from just hating Cruella de Vil, and it works so well. Whereas in this one, Jeff Daniels plays him so much less charming. Like, I do not like Jeff Daniels as Roger. First of all, he's not British. Like, they don't make Roger British. And, like, the original film is so aggressively British that it's hilarious at times. But, like, the part that like, Britain is so much, it feels like England is so much of a character in the original. And in this one, it's just not. Like, Jeff Daniels is Americanized. His occupation is modernized to being a fucking video game designer. And, like, the video game he's designing, like, you can tell that the people who wrote this movie knew jack shit about video games, because the video game that he is designing is so clearly far too graphically intense for when did this film come out? 96? It is way too graphically intense for the 90s. Like, it's in the style or an approximation of the animation style of the original movie, but, like, cleaner. It's not realistic at all for a video game of that time. And then, like, so he doesn't write the song Cruella de Vil is in the movie, of course, because it's too iconic to not have. But it's, I always forget which one is diegetic versus non-diegetic. It's the one in the original movie. That song exists within the context of the movie. Roger is singing it and writing it within the context of the story. Whereas in the remake, it doesn't exist within the world of the story. And that makes it so much less interesting. There are times where this film skews way too close to the original script, especially given the other changes I've mentioned. Especially, they leave in the, like, near miscarriage scene, which is crazy to leave into the remake. That's crazy. Of all the things to leave unchanged, you leave that part in? That's insane. That's actually insane. The dogs don't talk, which makes the Twilight bark scene worse. Somehow. But yeah, you don't ever get to hear the dogs talk, which sucks. Especially because they're adhering so closely to the original. And Hugh Laurie is almost really good as, I forget if he plays Jasper or Horace, but the other guy, who I don't remember the name of, the other actor, is so unfunny that it drags Hugh Laurie down. And then also, like, you can tell, especially how this film skews in the third act. They wanted to be Home Alone so badly, and it's just, like, it's just a worse Home Alone. It's just, like, the third act is just a worse Home Alone. Like, Home Alone was so big at this point, they couldn't help themselves. Okay. 102 Dalmatians. God, I mean, it's at the bottom of the list for a reason. I don't really have much to say about this one, but, like, it's like, a minute into this film, I wrote, God in heaven, where do I begin? That's a bad... This film sucks. This film sucks so bad. Even Glenn Close cannot save this one. It is... absolutely atrocious. Because it does that thing, like, the plot is that she has been rehabilitated after being spent after spending so much time in prison. They like rehabilitated her, and by rehabilitated her, I mean they completely like brainwash her into being like so like annoyingly nice. And then her mind goes back to being cartoonishly evil, and she just wants to make a puppy coat again. The other she's the only, I think there's like one assistant character to her. Jasper and Horace aren't even in this one. Like all the other characters from the original are gone. All the important ones are gone. You have new leads. I don't know how to pronounce his name. The guy who played Mr. Fantastic in the 2000s Fantastic Four movies. He's the male lead in this, and he sucks. His character sucks. But yeah, no, this one is hot garbage. There's nothing redeemable about that movie. Cruella. Okay, Cruella I have really high on this list. What can I say? Between this and Supergirl and I, Tonya, Craig Gillespie does a surprisingly good job at tackling complex female characters. Listen, I gave Cruella 4 stars, which might sound insane, because this movie fundamentally should not work. Cruella is the least redeemable Disney villain. Except maybe Claude Frollo. Claude Frollo might be more irredeemable than Cruella. But, like, they don't even try to make this Cruella the same character as the original. Like, they even, like, joke about her, like, potentially killing puppies, and then, like, pull the rug out and are like, no, she didn't kill the puppies. This is a stupid film. Her mother gets killed by Dalmatians in the opening scene. But it is a fun kind of stupid. I gotta go through these more quickly. It is a fun kind of stupid. So I enjoy it. It's very campy. It's like, this is the movie The Bride wants to be. If that makes sense. Like, no, not quite. This film is to Joker what The Bride is to Joker Folie à Deux. And that's all I'm gonna say on that, because I need to move along in this. Pinocchio, I'm barely gonna even touch on the Pinocchio ones, because I've literally done a full stream that you can find on this channel ranking every single Pinocchio film that's ever been made. Geppetto and Pinocchio 2022 are both mixed bags. Geppetto in particular, the rest of the cast is really good except for Drew Carey. And his story is just less interesting. People really overreacted about 2022 Pinocchio. It's got about as much good as bad. It's a 5 out of 10. I think initially when I watched it, I gave it a 6 out of 10. So it's gone down a bit for me, but it's fine. It's fine. It's inoffensive for the most part. The cast is pretty good. Luke Evans is great as the coachman, and his song is excellent. Excellent might be a stretch. It's the best new song in the film by far. But yeah, I'm not gonna say more on those because if you want to hear my more extended thoughts on those, go watch my Pinocchio ranking. Alice in Wonderland 2010. Listen, I appreciate that Tim Burton is trying to make the film his own, and it's not a straight up remake, it's a sequel, even though if one considers it a remake, it is not a remake, it is a legacy sequel. I like that they include the Jabberwock. Helena Bonham Carter and Johnny Depp are both great in it. The production design and costuming are both pretty solid. You can tell that this is in that era where Tim Burton was losing the sauce. You can really tell. Let me just read this email from work just to... Sure. Delete that. I can delete that as well. Okay. Yeah, this is definitely in that era where Tim Burton was starting to lose the sauce. We'll experience a lot worse one later, or talk about a lot worse one later. Thankfully, you won't have to experience it, but I had to, unfortunately. Yeah, there's certain elements of this movie that just don't work and really drag it down. I hate Crispin Glover's character. They call the Jabberwock the Jabberwocky, which is not correct. They call Wonderland Underland for some reason. I don't get... the movie's called Alice in Wonderland. Why are you calling it Underland? I don't know. And yeah, as the film goes along, it kind of becomes a more generic action film. But that's still a lot better than its sequel. Alice Through the Looking Glass. This movie is a time travel movie. Time travel was never an element of the original Alice in Wonderland stories. Never. I looked, I Googled it, I asked my friend who's more familiar with literature than I am. As far as I can tell, there's never been time travel in any of the original Alice stories. This film completely jumps the shark in that regard. It is so stupid. Granted, Tim Burton did not direct this one, so I can't be like, oh, Tim Burton completely lost the sauce. But as you see, we've got this one right here, which we'll talk about later, because I've got notes on it. Yeah, Alice Through the Looking Glass, incredibly stupid. I can't, like, as soon as As soon as Anne Hathaway said, "Alice, you must travel back in time," I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? It's it's so bad. It's so bad. All right. Um Oh, and the Red Queen's motivation for becoming, we get to find out why she became evil because of the time travel plot. Fucking maybe one of the worst villain motivations I've ever seen in a movie. It's so bad. Um Sorcerer's Apprentice. I counted this one because it is a remake of the Fantasia short, and even though it has almost nothing to do with the original Fantasia segment, there is an extended scene in the film, in the middle of the film, that is a very blatant homage to the original Fantasia, and it's called Sorcerer's Apprentice, so we count it. This film, it's not good. It's not good, but it has that, like, 2010s cheesiness to it that makes it charming. You know, like it's extremely cheesy and bad, but that's kind of like it that's I felt very nostalgic watching this film, despite the fact, I mean, I saw it. I didn't see it in theaters, but I did, like, rent it on DVD at some point when I was younger. It is very cheesy and kind of by the books, in terms of plot. And Nicolas Cage is very underutilized, but it's got that it's like, I would take this over modern MCU any day. That's the best way I could describe this film's vibe. Like, it's not good, but it is better than a lot of modern blockbusters. Nutcracker and the Four Realms. This one really shouldn't count, but I counted it anyway because it does. It like Sorcerer's Apprentice, it does have a scene that is an explicit homage to the original Nutcracker Suite segment of Fantasia. The costumes, hair, and makeup in this are good. The scene that is an homage to the Nutcracker Suite, they perform a ballet. It's good. Other than that, this film is terrible. I mean, you see how low it's ranked in here. The reason it's not ranked, like, on the same level as this garbage, the reason it's not lower is because Keira Knightley gives a performance as the Sugar Plum Fairy, who I'm just gonna spoil because nobody's gonna care about spoilers for this movie. She's the villain of the movie, and she's a twist villain, and she gives a performance that is, like, so close to being so bad it's I think I would say it's so bad it's good, but, like, barely. It barely crosses that threshold. So, like, it's almost worth it for her performance, but not quite. But yeah, really bad. Really bad. Also worth noting, the lead girl in this is the actress who played Renesmee in the Twilight movies, so that's fun. Well, specifically Breaking Dawn Part 2. because she was not the CGI baby. Actually, she might have been. She might have technically been the CGI baby. I don't know. And I don't know if she shows up older at the end in like a flash forward when Jacob imprints on her. Whatever. This is not about Twilight. I'm not gonna dive into that can of worms. Maleficent. Okay, Maleficent. Finally, I get to talk about another great one. Oh, Maleficent's so fucking good, guys. That's the blueprint right there. That and we'll talk about Pete's Dragon later, but Maleficent, that's the fucking blueprint for how you do one of these. You take what works about the original, and in the original Sleeping Beauty's case, Maleficent is pretty much the only thing that works about that original movie. I'm sorry. That movie's not good. It has not aged well. Not that it's problematic, but it's boring. It's incredibly boring. Apart from Maleficent. But even Maleficent in that movie isn't really given a whole lot to do. She just looks cool and transforms into a dragon at the end, and that's cool. Maleficent's so fucking good. And it doesn't have the same problem as Cruella, where, like, Cruella, they just make her straight up not a villain. And completely erase her villainous acts from the original. Essentially, Maleficent has her grappling with the evil choices she is making. And it doesn't try to justify her actions. It gives context to them, which is how you make one of these films, how you make one of these films work. It's really fucking good. I wish I could say the same for its sequel, Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, but that's mostly meh. Although, I will say, I think the part where she's at the Dark Fae realm, which is really cool. When she's in that, I don't know what it is about her in this movie. In this one in particular. I think it's when she lets her hair down. I think that's what gets me. But it's still in the Maleficent garb. That's the most attracted I've ever been to Angelina Jolie. Angelina Jolie's never been my type, but like this movie, hell yeah. Otherwise, this movie, unfortunately, focuses a lot more on the romance between Aurora and Philip, which in the original is bad, and in the first Maleficent, they make a joke about it being bad, and, like, he's not her true love's kiss. It's Maleficent being, like, a maternal figure to her, and her giving her the kiss that wakes her up, which is great. Also, man, I think I just don't like Harris Dickinson. Which, if my boss watches this, he's gonna have my head for that, but whatever. Yeah. And then it's a very, like, the plot is pretty bad and generic. Michelle Pfeiffer is the villain, and she's not great. Unfortunately. But also at the end, Maleficent turns Michelle Pfeiffer's character into a goat, but like you can clearly see ginormous male genitalia on the goat. Like they didn't even try to get a female goat. Unless goat genitalia looks very different from what... I'm moving on. Moving on to Cinderella, which is also very good. Talk about another film that the original does not hold up. It's very boring, And this is a very solid remake. Um, I wish the songs were in the actual movie instead of just in the credits, because they record them with the actors. Like Lily James sings "Dream Is a Wish Your Heart Makes," and Helena Bonham Carter sings "Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo." They're both in the credits and not in the actual movie. I think the film could have benefited from having those in the actual film itself, but otherwise, they do a very good job of expanding upon the story. The costumes are really good and, like, aren't just direct copies of what was done in the animated film. They put their own spin on the costumes, which is really nice. The cast is all really good. The mice don't fucking suck. Like, I hate the mice in the original because they're like a mix between Tom and Jerry and the Minions. I have a whole script for, like, a video essay on Cinderella and Cinderella 3 that I never made. I think I've thrown it out, but, like, the mice in the original Cinderella I consider as, like, prototypes for the Minions. People aren't going to understand what that means, but I don't have time to give more context for what I mean on that, because we're focusing on the remakes. Anyway, they don't talk in the new movie. They're cute, and they don't distract from the main plot. They don't take over the movie. The prince is an actual fucking character in this, and the relationship actually has development. Lady Tremaine's a more dynamic villain. I still wouldn't put this above Cinderella 3, but it's definitely above Cinderella 1. There's an awesome moment towards the end where Cinderella actually gets to stand up against Lady Tremaine. Yeah. It's a very solid remake. This is another one where, like, this is one of the few that, like, consistently gets a lot of praise. And it deserves it. We're coming on we are right now in this era of the remakes. There's a solid stretch of this is the best stretch of remakes. The era we are currently discussing. And we get to Pete's Dragon in this era next. Pete's Dragon, the original. I don't remember if I ever watched it as a kid. My mom has a lot of nostalgia for it, so I probably did at some point. But with this rewatch of the original, might be my least favorite Disney movie. It really doesn't hold up. It's really fucking bad. Really fucking bad. But the remake, as you can see, I rank as the best Disney remake. Peter Lowry, who did Mother Mary and The Green Knight, did this one. And holy shit. When I talked to my mom about Pete's Dragon, I was like, I hate to tell you this, Mom, but I did not care for Pete's Dragon. The way she talks about how the original Pete's Dragon made her feel, that's how I feel about the remake. It is magical. If you're gonna watch any of these remakes, watch Pete's Dragon. Watch Pete's Dragon. It's so good. So good. Like, I'm not even gonna go into specifics because, like, just watch it. It takes the idea of the original and makes it great. Beauty and the Beast, I also have ranked very high, as you can see. Beauty and the Beast is another one where I can completely understand, like, if you're gonna pay, like, if you prefer the original, I don't blame you. The original is fantastic. The original, I think, is almost perfect. The original Beauty and the Beast is almost perfect. The one thing dragging it down even slightly is multiple plot holes. specifically with, like, the timeline of the curse, because in the original movie, they established that Beast has to find true love before his 21st birthday. And they also say multiple times in the movie that the curse has been a thing for 10 years. Which means that the Beast was cursed at age 11, which does not make sense, both in terms of how the curse happened, and also the fact that we see a painting of him as an adult in the castle. And also a smaller plot hole, but still worth discussing because the remake addresses it, is he's a prince. Why would the people in the town not... Why did no one check on the prince before now? Like, he's a prince. A public figure. If he disappeared for 10... Even if he disappeared for, like, a month, people would get suspicious and check on the castle. Which there is no implication at all that anyone did. The remake fixes all of these plot holes with very little effort. It, first of all, doesn't establish a specific timeline for the curse. Instead of for 10 years we've been rusting, they say for so long we've been rusting. And they don't have the deadline of him turning 21. The deadline is just when the last petal falls. So it's more vague, but that gets rid of the plot holes. They also establish in a single line that the Enchantress wiped everyone's memory so that they wouldn't check on the prince. And then beyond that, I think the cast of this is great. I think this is the best cast of any of the remakes. They're all great. Luke Evans especially. He gives the best villain performance of any of these remakes. Which is crazy because he might have the top two in that case, because he's also great as the coachman in Pinocchio. So he might genuinely have the two best true villain performances, because, like, Angelina Jolie is great in Maleficent, but she's not the villain of that movie, so I wouldn't count that. But yeah, Luke Evans is perfect as Gaston. I like Maurice being a little more grounded. I think the character designs for, like, Lumiere and Cogsworth, like all the object characters, are really well integrated into life. Like, they make them look realistic without looking uncanny. They expand upon the Beast's character a lot in a better way than the Broadway musical. They also add some good songs. Evermore is the best song in any of these remakes. Yeah, I think Beauty and the Beast just has that little extra push for the original. Like, again, the original is almost perfect. I think the remake takes that step and it makes it the best version it could possibly be. But if you prefer the original, I don't blame you, because the original is great. So I wouldn't I wouldn't hold it against you if you did prefer the original to the remake. Christopher Robin, got that in here. You know, it's not a remake of a specific Winnie the Pooh movie, but it's like Alice in Wonderland. It's a legacy sequel, essentially. It's got a very good setup. Ewan McGregor's fantastic in the role of Christopher Robin. And this is just a really sweet and charming movie. It peaks in the second act when he's actually spending time in the 100 Anchor Wood with Pooh and everyone else. where like the third act kind of drops off a little bit, and the first act isn't as interesting to begin with, but it's still a very, very good movie. Mary Poppins Returns I included on here, even though it is explicitly a sequel, and it's a sequel to a film that was already live action slash animated. But it kind of felt like it was in the spirit of this trend of Disney's live action reimaginings. Like, it feels like this wouldn't have happened when it did if not for them doing all these remakes. So that's why I included it in here. This is a film that, compared to most of the films on this list, this one gets a lot of praise, and I'm a little surprised by that. Because it really is mostly just kind of playing the hits. It's just the first movie again, but not quite as good. Emily Blunt is great in the role. She does a very good job of channeling Julie Andrews' original performance while also making it her own. I like the third act. I like the sequence where they go into the China Bowl. The visual style of that looks really cool. Very good updating of the animated sequences of the original. Dick Van Dyke being back is great. But yeah, a lot of the visual effects look less real. It somehow looks more fake than the original, even though the technology is so much more advanced at this point. It has a very similar setup to Christopher Robin, but falls into more cliches. Meryl Streep's song absolutely fucking sucks. Stop casting Meryl Streep in musicals. The villain is pretty one note. Like I said, practically the same beats as the original. Yeah, like, I was surprised to see this in so many, like, year-end, like, oh, this is one of the top 10 best films of the year for 2018. Like, this film was very close to getting a Best Picture nom, I feel like, because it got nominated for Best Picture at a lot of precursors. This was probably on the cusp of getting a Best Picture nom, which is crazy to me, especially because it's basically the same movie as Christopher Robin, which came out the same year, but Christopher Robin, I think, is vastly superior. Dumbo, okay. Not gonna spend too much time on this one, but this, as far as, like, the modern remakes, this is the worst. And the original Dumbo isn't particularly good either. It doesn't really hold up well. But the remake manages to be somehow worse. What's the pace? This pacing is so weird. Because, like, the original does not have very good pacing. The original feels very slow, despite being only an hour long. It feels really slow. Let me find... Wait, actually, hang on. I can literally find it here. Show your activity. New tab. Because I know I wrote it in... Where's my... Show me my review. Yeah, so... The original film's ending happens 40 minutes into this film. And then the film still has the amount of runtime that is equivalent to the total runtime of the original film. So, like, the majority of this film is essentially a bad Dumbo sequel. Like, the first half is, like, a poorly condensed version of the original, and then it becomes a bad sequel. Like, less than halfway through. It's really fucking bad. Like, I don't know what else to say. I mean, I have notes right here. Looks like shit. That's your dream, not mine cliche ding. This movie is another one with a great cast, but they're like completely phoning it in. Michael Keaton's phoning it in. Ava Green's okay, I guess. Danny DeVito's phoning it in. This Tim Burton's really phoning it in. Tim Burton could have done something fun and creepy with Dumbo. He doesn't even try. And they completely butchered the best scene of the original, which to my surprise was pink elephants on parade. I did not expect to like that scene. That's the best scene in the original. The finale's absolutely atrocious. Yeah, I'm done talking about that one. Oh, Aladdin. Okay, we've gone from the best period of... We have officially gone from the best period of the remakes to the worst period of the remakes, because 2019 was rough for these remakes. Aladdin... The original Aladdin is my favorite Disney movie, full stop. It's a masterpiece. I hate almost everything about this remake. The only reason the Aladdin remake is not at the bottom of this list is because Naomi Scott is giving a great performance as Jasmine. Her song Speechless is great. I would go as far as to say, of the original songs written for these remakes, it is the second best behind Evermore from Beauty and the Beast. It's very good. If the rest of the movie weren't so bad, I might even say it's better than... No, really, the real reason that Speechless is not above Evermore for me is because the context that Speechless is given, like the context of Speechless in the movie, they really, I don't know how to describe it. Let me find it in my notes, because I know I noted this down. It beats you over the head with its messages. This film's script really beats you over the head with the whole idea of Jasmine being silenced and, like, not be... Like, Jafar straight up says, "It is better for you to be seen and not heard." Like, that's... And multiple characters have lines towards Jasmine that are to that effect. And just as blatant. And it's, yeah, the script of this movie is really bad. I remember, because I watched this movie closer to when it came out. I didn't see it in theaters, but I watched it, like, the year it came out, after it hit, VOD. And I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know if my expectations were just so low when I initially watched it. But, like, at the time I initially watched it, I thought that I liked pretty much everything except for Will Smith as Genie. And on this remake, I realized I hate everything except Naomi Scott as Jasmine. And Will Smith's Genie is really still the biggest problem of the movie. Because, like, the entire film feels like it feels like Will Smith's aura permeates the entire film. And it sucks. It, like I'm looking at my notes, like, Other side characters lacking personality. Jafar, Iago, and Sultan in particular, all lacking personality in this version. Will Smith's aura, because he's not giving a performance as Genie. The Genie is just Will Smith. So, like, why do the other characters have to have personality? And it's also, like, it feels like Jafar, Iago, and Sultan were written to have less personality so that they didn't overshadow Will Smith. You know what I mean? It's like Will Smith, like, they're positioning Will Smith as the lead. Even more than they marketed Robin Williams as Genie in the original. Who is he's the best part of the original, but he's not the lead. He is a supporting character, and he fills his role as a supporting character well. Whereas Will Smith kind of takes over the entire movie in the remake. Music feels too modernized. Very much in line with especially Will Smith's rendition of Friend Like Me being much more hip-hop. Because one Jump Ahead kind of leans into that, too. The pacing of the movie is way off. All the performances are pretty rough except for Naomi Scott. The script just sucks. None of the humor lands. It's all very cringy humor, and I hate using that word, but it really is so cringy, and it's all, like, the same, like, type of humor as, like, Will Smith's Genie. Like, everyone's talking like Will Smith in this movie, and it sucks. His romantic subplot with Dahlia is so bad. Yeah. No, the movie, this is way worse than I remembered it being when I initially watched it. This remake really cemented it as one of the worst. It's so fucking bad. Yeah. Lion King. This is one that prior to this marathon, I would have put Lion King near the bottom of this list in rankings. It's still very bad. The main problem with it being that it is way too close to the original. It's just the original and worse in every way. Most ways. It rarely tries to do anything different from the original. And when it does deviate, it deviates in a bad way for the most part. Chiwetel Ejiofor really is not a good Scar. This cast feels like it would have been so good, but a lot of their potentially good performances are lost in the visuals because they're going for such a hyper-realistic look with this film. The animals do not exhibit any emotion, and that really kills the movie. This is obviously a criticism that is not new. Everyone has mentioned this criticism when talking about the Lion King remake. But it's worth noting, this is not a problem in Jungle Book. It's not even a problem in Mufasa, which we're going to get to in just a bit. But, like, Jungle Book made the animals look realistic while still being able to emote. Lion King, they went too far with the visuals look very impressive. Like, they look very impressive, but it's too realistic to allow them to exhibit emotion, and that kills what is really one of Disney's best stories ever. That said, John Oliver as Zazu, and especially Billy Eichner and Seth Rogen as Timon and Pumbaa. Really, it's those two that really put this film above these. That really pushes this to that next level. Because Timon and Pumbaa in this are fantastic. Billy Eichner and Seth Rogen are both really well cast, and their new jokes are funny. Like, they do what Will Smith could not. The Be Our Guest scene in this is so good. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. Look up that scene specifically. It's this film's version of the hula scene in the original. It's so good. That scene is worth the price. Is almost worth the price of admission. Well, just watch it on Disney Plus. You're already paying for it if you have Disney Plus. Like, just yeah. Skip to that part. Well, skip to when Timon and Pumbaa are introduced in the movie, and you'll yeah, they're fun. Their stuff is fun. Mufasa. This one, I wasn't sure how I was gonna feel about this. I was like, no, we don't need that. I liked this one a lot more than I thought I would. As I mentioned earlier, the visual effects, like, they actually allowed the characters to emote in this one. While still looking pretty good, like, visually. The movie's also a lot more colorful. You can actually tell the lions apart in this one. Because there's white lions as the villains, and they look very cool and distinct. That said, the dialogue in this movie sucks, and it's terribly paced. They recast Zazu. John Oliver is not back, which is a shame. Like, I get that, like Mufasa and Scar obviously have different actors because they're young, they're much younger, and, like, you know, Zazu, same, like, he's younger, but he doesn't even feel younger. Like, you could have kept John Oliver as Zazu, and nobody would bat an eye, is what I'm saying. And, like, John Oliver was really good as Zazu in the remakes, so I wish he was in this. The songs are catchy, but the lyrics are fucking terrible. Like, this is it's not Lin-Manuel Miranda's worst work. We're gonna get to that. I say as I point to a film that is ranked significantly higher. It's just one song in The Little Mermaid, but you all know what the song is, probably. If you've seen the movie, you know what the song is. But yeah, this movie kinda, like, this movie sucks in a fun way. Like, it's kind of camp. Like, it's not good, but it's kind of camp. I don't know. It's like, and it does genuinely improve upon not the original Lion King, obviously, but it improves upon the remake in a lot of ways. So there's that. Yeah. It's kind of camp. It's, like, not quite on the level of Cruella, but, you know, you can have a fun time with this one. Lady and the Tramp. Lady and the Tramp is another one of my least favorite of the originals. And when I initially watched both the original and the remake, I watched these both back to back for the podcast a while back that I did with Jacob. And I remember, like, at the time, I was like, I don't know which of these movies is worse, because they're both atrocious. Upon rewatch, I have realized that the remake is actually a vast improvement. It's still only a 5, it's a 5 out of 10. But that's a vast improvement over the original. Straight up. The original sucks. Jello Apocalypse's friend put it best. We're 40 minutes in and nothing's happened. That is the original movie to a T. And, like, obviously, the remake is not good. there's a lot of bad going for it. The CGI is bad. The racist song from the original is replaced by a song that is like not racist but also completely bland and not catchy at all. There's a lot of like failed humor in this. Like a lot of the humor falls flat. And like you can only polish a turd so much. Like the story is just not interesting. But at least in the remake, it feels like an actual like coherent plot. Like it feels like it has proper pacing. That's really the biggest that's really the big thing. It has proper pacing. It feels like a movie, you know? It feels like a movie. It's like this is literally Harry Styles talking about "Don't Worry, Darling." This is what I'm talking about. Like, I talk about this in the same way that Harry Styles talks about "Don't Worry, Darling." Which I'd probably put this on about the same level as "Don't Worry, Darling," to be fair. Yeah. Yeah. It's it's a vast improvement, but that doesn't mean it's good. Mulan, right here. I don't even have to scroll far. I appreciate the Mulan remake. There's a reason these two are so close together. Is that I appreciate them for trying to do something different, even if they both ultimately fail at that. They like, not that they fail at being different, they fail at being good. Yeah, the Mulan it's just is boring, but like, I think a large part of that is just the fact that I'm not really an action movie guy. Like, if you're into action, if you're a big action movie fan, you can probably enjoy this one. And specifically if you're a big action fan and you don't care about the original Mulan in any way, or you do care but you don't go into this movie expecting that movie. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the original movie. Like, it deviates in more ways than most of these remakes do. And again, I respect it for trying to be something different. It's just that different isn't good. At least for me. I can totally see... Okay, let me preface that. This person might not exist, actually. The theoretical target audience for this movie might not exist, but if you are a fan of action movies, you're not sexist, and you don't go into it expecting the original, then you might enjoy it. I don't know if the person I just described exists, but if they do, recommend them this movie, I guess. Also, this is another one of the ones with Jason Scott Lee. He plays the substitute for Shan Yu, Shan Yu. It's not Shan Yu. I don't know why it's not Shan Yu, but it's not. It's a different villain. But yeah, he is defeat. Spoiler alert. Mulan does defeat. She kills him by kicking an arrow into his chest, which is kind of cool, but also kind of really stupid. Like, I put it in both the positive and the negative column, which I did for a couple things in a couple of these movies, but that's a notable one. But yeah. Anyway. Also, I like that Jimmy Wong gets to be in that. Like, I like that Jimmy Wong is getting work. So, you know, there's that. Peter Pan. Talk about another film that has not aged well. And this time I do mean in the problematic sense. But it's more than you probably think. It's not just the racism. Peter Pan himself is also wildly sexist and just sucks all around as a character. Really, the only things about the original I care about are, unsurprisingly, the villains. Captain Hook, Smee, and the Crocodile are all great. Tinkerbell also sucks in the original. But this is another one made by David Lowery, and while I wouldn't say it's not nearly as good as Pete's Dragon. This is like a 6 out of 10 for me. There were a lot of parts where I just kind of checked out, but it is I do think it is an improvement on the original. I like the increased focus on Wendy as a character, because in the original she's barely a character, and a lot of the characters are sexist towards her. Even the women, like the mermaids, try to fucking kill her because they're like, oh, you can't have Peter, we want Peter, which sucks because they're all children. Stop that. But yeah, I think I like the increased focus on Wendy, as the title implies. They give Peter and Hook an interesting backstory. Like, they have an interesting history between the two of them. I don't remember the ending, but I have marked down that the ending's good. So, I don't know. This movie also is willing to acknowledge that Peter Pan kind of sucks as a character, like as a person. Like, it actually gives, they force him to take some accountability in this one, which is nice. That said, a lot of the film just overall is kind of underwhelming. Hook and Smee are particularly underwhelming. I mean, Jude Law is good in the role, as you would expect. It's Jude Law. He's a good choice for Hook. But, the execution is very underwhelming. And the crocodile is only in one scene, unfortunately. They really don't play into that at all. Which I get. They're clearly going for a much more grounded adaptation, which is weird. You would think that would be a terrible choice for Peter Pan, but for the most part, this film works. It's I don't know that I would rewatch it. I might give it another shot at some point, but it's fine. I think it's fine, which is an improvement on the original for me. Little Mermaid, right here. The original's great. This one, I would go as far as to say, is almost as good. There are a good amount of parts where this genuinely does improve upon the original. I think it has a little better pacing, particularly with the romance, because the romance gets a lot more development in the remake. This isn't necessarily improvement, it's just equal footing, I would say. Halle Bailey gives one of the best performances in any of these remakes. She's so good as Ariel. Grifters, fuck you. I like how they incorporate a bit more pre-established mermaid lore into this. I like that element. Part of Your World being the first song in this is an improvement, because in the original it's Fathoms Below and then Daughters of Triton, and then you get Part of Your World. With this one, it takes a bit before you get a song, but then it kicks off with the best song in the movie, so I like that. Vanessa's hot. That's one of my positive notes. She really is, like, I don't know that actress's name. I don't know what else she's been in, but, like, damn. I forget if I mentioned that I like Ariel defeating Ursula at the end, but I like that. As far as negatives, Scuttlebutt, the worst song in any of these remakes, and it's not even close. And Aquafina in general. Disney needs to stop casting Aquafina as these annoying side characters, because she sucks in Shang-Chi, she sucks in this, she sucks in Raya and the Last Dragon, and The Farewell is proof that she can act. Unless that was a fluke. I'm starting to think that might have been a fluke. But I don't want to believe that it was a fluke. I want to believe she has just untapped potential, and that The Farewell was a glimpse at that, because she is very good in The Farewell. That's not what this is about, but yeah, that's a tangent. The visual effects do not hold up when watching this at home. I thought it looked pretty good in the theater. They're not great. They could have used a little bit more polish. Under the Sea has a big issue where the visuals do not match the lyrics. Like, Under the Sea is sung with the exact same lyrics, but they don't adapt the visuals to match. You don't see any of the animals that are mentioned playing instruments as they're mentioned playing instruments. You don't see them playing instruments at all, because it's going for a more realistic approach, as a lot of these remakes do. But then if you're gonna do that, you need to change the lyrics of Under the Sea. The rest of the movie shows that they're not afraid of changing lyrics, because they changed the lyrics of Kiss the Girl to be less problematic. Not that I don't think they necessarily needed to, but it's a nice gesture. I'm not one of those people who's gonna overreact to it like a lot of people do. Like, people are like, oh, you're ruining Kiss the Girl. No, they didn't. It's the same exact fucking song. They just swapped. They just changed some lyrics so that it's not giving problematic implications. And yeah, as good as Halle Bailey is as Ariel, most of the other performances range from weak to serviceable. I think Javier Bardem is actually pretty weak as King Triton. Jacob Tremblay and Daveed Diggs are fine as Flounder and Sebastian, but they could be better. Melissa McCarthy, I actually think, is really good casting for Ursula. I know a lot of people were mad that they didn't cast either a drag queen or Lizzo. Look how the latter turned out. I don't think people would be complaining about not casting Lizzo if this film were to come out now, but I think Melissa McCarthy is mostly pretty good as Ursula. Her performance kind of fluctuates between good and like, she's pretty good, but could have been great. I'm gonna attribute that more to direction, or maybe just they probably filmed so much of this in a green box because of especially her, like, because she never goes above the surface until the very end, where she's practically all CGI. So, like, yeah, I'm not gonna pin that on her. I think it's probably direction and filming conditions. Avengers Doomsday is gonna suck. Not relevant, but, you know, if you know, you know. Alright, we only got 2 more of these to talk about Snow White. Um, when I shared, because Jacob was one of the friends that I talked to about this. I kept him pretty regularly updated on my marathon, because he's a person that I've talked a lot about these remakes with, because he's very much one of those people who's like, none of these need to exist, and I'm like, well, some of them have merit. And he has listened to a podcast that I've been meaning to listen to now that I've finished this marathon, called Once More with Feeling, where they discuss each episode. They discuss an original and its remake in depth. They've mostly done the Disney films, but they finished those, so they've started coming out with more. They're still doing a lot of Disney films, but like the Disney films you don't think about, like Shaggy Dog and Herbie and Parent Trap, like those Disney movies, and That Darn Cat. It's like that one especially is one that people don't think about, but it exists and has a remake. Two Disney made two versions of That Darn Cat. Anyway, not relevant, but and from what he's told me, they're a lot harsher on these remakes as a whole. But they actually liked the 101 Dalmatians remake, so what the fuck do they know? Anyway, all that to say, when I shared this ranked list with Jacob, let me find his exact wording, because what he said to me is very funny. Because this is one that I constantly have to defend, because this is another one that people, like, grossly overreacted to. In the same way they grossly overreact to Super... God, I sent him so many texts in response to this. Jacob, when I shared this ranked list with him after I'd finished the marathon. Well, I hadn't finished. I still had Lilo and Stitch to rewatch, but I was like, it's gonna fall somewhere in the middle. But Jacob said, after seeing my ranking of these remakes and reimaginings, someday someone is going to see you put Snow White in your top 5 of the remakes, go insane, and do a 2-hour expose on your life to figure out how that happened. And they will not succeed, but they will at some point make a conspiracy board of the channel lore to figure out if it's part of a bit. Listen, if you have not seen the Snow White remake, you do not have room to judge. I think this is actually, in terms of, I mean, I only have it ranked at number 5 because there are 2 glaring issues with it. Gal Gadot as the evil queen, her acting sucks, and also her singing sucks. They gave the evil queen a song that, like, I can't tell if it's a good song because it's being sung so terribly. I think it could be a good song if they cast an actress who could actually sing and act. So yeah, Gal Gadot, obviously glaring flaw with this film. And the CGI dwarves. They should have just cast actors with dwarfism. Yeah. Those 2 obviously glaring flaws with this film. That said, pretty much everything else about the film ranges from pretty good to excellent. Rachel Zegler, again, she's like almost as good as Snow White as Halle Bailey is as Ariel. She's fantastic. The new songs are really good, especially Princess Problems. That also ranks, like, as far as like the original songs written for these remakes, I'd probably go Evermore, Speechless, and then Princess Problems. Princess Problems is really fun. She has a really fun dynamic with the new love interest, who's not a prince. He's like a robber. I think I love their dynamic, and their romance actually gets proper development. You'll notice that's a recurring theme with these early princess movies, is that the romances suck in the originals, and in the remakes they actually get some proper development. Maleficent, Mistress of Evil notwithstanding, that one still don't care for the romance part. But Cinderella's really good about that. Snow White's very good about that. Um, I think this film, despite being ranked only number 5, I think this is the film that does the best job of paying respect to what came before while also introducing new ideas. Like, it strikes the best balance, because, like, obviously, like, the stuff that's above it, Christopher Robin is a completely different movie that barely has any basis in the original Winnie the Pooh. Like, it's a legacy sequel. It's not a remake. So, like, that's a completely different movie. Maleficent, obviously very different from Sleeping Beauty. It's from a completely different point of view. So, like, that's barely a remake. Beauty and the Beast, on the opposite side of things, it is mostly extremely faithful to the original. And, like, it introduces some new stuff, but not much. But it's just really good. And then Pete's Dragon, again, has the same basic premise as the original, but is basically a completely different and far superior movie. Snow White, again, has that balance where, like, a lot of the originals in there, but there's also a lot of new ideas. Like, it strikes a very good balance. And also, this movie's plot and message are very relevant to current day politics, especially in America. So, there's that. Worth noting, I am from Minnesota. And certain elements of the story hit a bit harder based on what has happened in Minnesota since, well, this year. What's happened in Minnesota this year? That's all I need to say about that. Lilo and Stitch. Oh boy, this is like very middle of the road. They nail the dynamic between Lilo and Stitch. Their dynamic is perfect. And the act, like, Lilo is the Maya Kealoha. I'm probably mispronouncing that name, but she's fantastic as Lilo. Also, rest in peace to the original Lilo voice actress. Obviously, very tragic what happened there. But and Chris Sanders being back as Stitch, obviously great. And they actually made Stitch look pretty good in live action, well, in CGI. So yeah, they nail Stitch, they nail Lilo, they nail their dynamic. The people who complain about this film having a shitty ending that goes against the messaging of the original either did not watch the movie or don't have media literacy. Like, I'm not gonna go on that diatribe right now because I'm getting tired and it's 11:38. I want to wrap this up pretty soon here. Yep. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I I don't love the ending, but like I appreciate that they did something different with the ending. And I think it works in the context of the movie. And people who say it goes against the messaging of the movie, again, either didn't watch the movie or have zero media literacy. The change that this film makes that actually does go against the messaging of the original film, in my opinion, is how this film handles Jumba Jukiba as a character. First of all, completely lacking in personality because, like, Zach Galifianakis, like, you could have done the accent or done some accent. Like, you could have done some funny voice for Jumba, but he's just speaking in his normal voice, and it's bland. It's a bland performance, but I'm not going to blame this entirely on him because obviously the script completely butchers his character by making him the straight up villain. I understand not being able to do Captain Gantu with the budget they had, because this was originally going to be straight to Disney Plus, like Lady and the Tramp, Peter Pan and Wendy, and Pinocchio. This was originally supposed to be straight to Disney Plus, but then they gave it a little bit more money and a theatrical release. So I completely understand not being able to do Captain Gantu, because that would take a lot of work with CGI. There's no way they could have done it practically. But so, like, not having Captain Gantu, okay, you need someone to fill that role. Choosing Jumba to fill that role really sucks in multiple ways. A, you're depriving him of his redemption from the original, which I hadn't watched the original in a while. I didn't realize how, like, barely, like, built up the redemption is. Stitch just kind of asks him to help. He gets angry about it, and then he's like, okay, I'll help. He's like, it's a very jokey redemption. I didn't realize his redemption was so much of a joke in the original, but it's still better than no redemption at all, because Jumba in the original is very charming, even when he is still trying to capture Stitch. Like, he's still very charming. And, like, he's a character that you want to see turn good. And then the remake, he just sucks. He has zero personality, and he's still a buffoon is the problem. Like, in the original, he's like a lovable buffoon in a way, but even that, he's not that much of a buffoon because he's very smart. He created Stitch and the other experiments that we see in, you know, sequels and spin-offs and whatnot. But, like, he's bumbling is the better word. He's not a buffoon. He's just bumbling. And a lot of that is due to Pleakley. But, like, in the remake, Pleakley's honestly more competent than Jumba, which is crazy. That's a weird choice. Ben Mendelsohn almost works as Pleakley. He almost works. He could have worked if they handled it better, direction-wise. And Dean Fleischer Camp theoretically should have been the perfect director for this remake. But again, I'm gonna blame it more on the script, which I... did he write it? Did he write it? Or did someone else write it? On Stage 2025. No, he did not write it. Okay. So, yeah, I'm definitely willing to blame that more on the... script. Although I think Dean Fleischer Camp did defend the making Jumba a villain in an interview. But, yeah, honestly, another one of my criticisms is that Hannah Waddingham is incredibly underutilized as Grand Councilwoman. Should have made Grand Councilwoman the villain. That would have worked a lot better, honestly. You don't even have to have a big action set piece with that. Like, you could save money and just be like... You can have this, like, heartfelt like, not a fight between Stitch and Jump. I mean, you can still have the original, like, where he's destroying the house. But, like, maybe have, like, an emotional beat with them and Lilo where he has that realization of, like, oh, you are capable of more than just being a monster, and this little girl helped you realize that. And he has that realization of Ohana. And then have the scene where Grand Councilwoman comes. Essentially just have it be the same as the scene from the original where she comes to Earth and is like, sorry, we gotta take Stitch. And then Lilo's like, no, you can't. I adopted him legally. And she's like, all right, he'll be exiled, but he'll serve his exile on Earth. So, like, at that point, you wouldn't have, like, a true villain. But, like, that would have at least making Grand Councilwoman a little more of a villain. To, like, kind of fill the Gantu role, but still have that same good ending. Where she's like, okay, that would give Hannah Waddingham more to do. Because she's theoretically great casting as the Grand Councilwoman. It's just that character is barely a character. She's barely a character in the original, to be fair. But, yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Yeah, Jumba sucks in the remake. And also, like, another, like, minor nitpick of the film, like, the pacing feels off. That's less of a minor nitpick. That's a pretty major, criticism. The pacing feels way off. But also, like, a more minor nitpick, they try to modernize things too much. Not to the same level as Aladdin, but, like, Lilo does say she read Nani's texts instead of she read her diary. And also, there's the scene where Stitch is crashing a wedding, and they play Uptown Funk, which, A, isn't modern anymore. Like, that's not a modern song anymore. That's pretty dated at this point. I mean, the song is still good, but, like, it's... I don't think people in 2026 would be playing that at a wedding, necessarily. But, like, Elvis music is so integral to the original's vibe. And they still have Elvis music in this movie. So, like, why have Uptown Funk in this scene when you could have had an Elvis song? There's plenty of great options for Elvis songs they could have played at the wedding. But they just went with Uptown Funk instead. Which feels very weird. But whatever. Anyway. Okay. Yeah. I'm clearly getting very tired. I'm not gonna dive into the remake pitches tonight. I'll do that next time. Guys, if you're watching this in the post, if you're watching this in the future, I'll put the link in the description. It's not in the description right now, but I will put it in there. If you guys have suggestions for movies you'd like me to pitch a remake for, Let me know. I could do some more of those. I have 2 prepared from when I initially asked for these prompts months ago. Um, I never did anything with them. I mean, I put them in the slideshow months ago, but or Google presentation, but yeah, give me suggestions for movies you think should get remakes, or films that you think you in the form. There's like a prompt where it's like, why should this film get a remake? Like, I don't want you pitching be like, oh, I like this movie, so like make a new version of it. No, I need you to give me a reason that the film should have a remake. Because again, a lot of these remakes are unnecessary, and plenty of them don't really do anything new. So like, give me a remake that I can do something new with. Like someone pitched Short Circuit. That one I'm very proud of. Jacob pitched Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. That was a challenge for me, but I really like what I came up with for it. So I will pitch those next week. Let me know if you have any other suggestions for... there will be a Google form that you can fill out. Let me know if you have suggestions. Obviously, nobody joined me on this one because I streamed this starting at 9 p.m. my time. And it's almost midnight now. In the future, I don't work next Monday, so I can do this earlier. I want to do these early. I wanted to start this at 8:30, but whatever. Yeah. Another thing with this this series I want to do is each week I want to pick a movie to watch with I'll expand this just so I can pull this up. One of the things I want to do with this series to get people more involved is each week I want to pick a film, and when I have more people in chat or on CoCom, we can pick film. I can take suggestions, or we can take a vote. But since literally no one else is here, I'm just going to pick a film. Each week I want to pick a film and be like, hey, if you want to be part of the conversation, watch this film and we'll discuss it next week. So that people have time to prepare. So I want to do this with films that are free to stream, so that anyone can be even if you don't pay for any streaming services, you could be like, okay, I can access this for free. I'll watch it. So the one that we're gonna do, that I'm gonna pick for next week's discussion, since nobody else is here, I had 2 ideas, but this one I really want to watch as soon as possible. So we're gonna... Some of these... A lot of my picks for this are gonna be very goofy, because I'm particularly pulling from Tubi, because that's a free streaming service. Everyone has access to it. And they have a very interesting selection. They have some genuinely great movies on Tubi from time to time. But they also have a lot of weird movies that nobody's heard of. And this is one of those movies. You can see right here, Nick Knight. Now, this poster doesn't... This particular poster doesn't really tell you anything about the movie. So, I have to explain why I discovered this film. So this is Nick Knight. It is a made-for-TV film from 1989 starring Rick Springfield, who people probably know for the song Jesse's Girl and no other songs. Sorry, this is a running joke I have with my mom. She's a huge Rick Springfield fan. I make the joke that, like, oh, he had one big hit and then nobody cares about the other songs. There are a couple other songs that people like, but, like, none of his songs come anywhere close to the cultural impact of Jesse's Girl. Anyway, I found another movie of his. I'll actually get the DVD here to show you guys. I went to Goodwill yesterday with my mom and found this 4-film combo pack that includes A Change of Place, starring Rick Springfield, which the plot for this also sounds ridiculous. But I don't know if that's available on any streaming, so I didn't want to pick that one for the movie club. But and my mom was like, oh yeah, Rick Springfield did a ton of acting. He was on General Hospital for a while. It's like, okay, that's not a good marker for him being a good actor per se, but that said, we're going to watch John Oliver's episodes of General Hospital because we love John Oliver, and I'm like, yes. So as soon as he said he would go on any soap opera that would have him, I was like, if he gets a job on any of the soap operas, I will watch. So gonna watch his episodes of General Hospital and Days of Our Lives. But anyway, that's besides the point. Nick Knight was actually, technically speaking, this was Rick Springfield's first made-for-TV movie. He did a lot of made-for-TV movies. Well, not a lot. He did like 10. And this one, Nick Knight, is about Nick Knight, a centuries-old vampire working as a police detective in modern-day Los Angeles. This was apparently originally meant to be a pilot episode for a television series, but was not picked up at the time. It did get picked up in 1992, but they produced the show as Forever Knight, refilming the pilot with the same plot. Interesting, I didn't see that. With a completely different cast, except for this one guy, I guess, John Kapelos. Oh, Breakfast Club. Okay, interesting. But yeah, Rick Springfield's not in this show. But yeah. So if you want to be part of the conversation next week, I'll make a post about this in the Discord too, so that people who didn't watch this know. Watch Nick Knight. It's on Tubi. If you want to watch it without ads, it's also available on Amazon Prime. If you have a subscription to Amazon Prime, you can watch that. Yeah. Is it on any other streaming services? Let me double check before I end things here. Nick Knight. You can also rent it on YouTube, or I assume buy it as well, but yeah. So if you have a Amazon Prime subscription, you can watch it there. Otherwise, it's free on Tubi. Yeah. So if you have any suggestions for other film-related topics you'd like me to talk about on a future stream, let me know. I want to hopefully, obviously, it's understandable that people weren't able to join me for this one, but hopefully we can get more people involved in the future. I will be posting about this in the Discord so that people know to watch Nick Knight. Yeah. I'll also do some remake pitches. I'll probably wait to do the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull one for a stream that Jacob actually joins me for, since he suggested it. figured he'd want to hear my pitch. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this one. Yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Hopefully, stay tuned for more of Noah's Monday Movie Club. And be sure to watch Nick Knight before next week if you want to be part of that conversation. So till next time, peace.